Hello, everybody. Tate Davis here with another album review for you. And what album are we going to be reviewing today? It's a classic. Miles Davis, Kinda Blue from 1959. This isn't going to be a long video because what can I say about this album that hasn't already been said? It was released in 1959. Miles Davis kind of really exploring the modal side of jazz here after reading a book by forget the name of it. It was some book that offered suggestions on different musical things with modes. I don't know, I'm not a music theory expert, so I wouldn't really know about that, but taking that into account, he kind of first experimented with the title track of his 1958 album Milestones, and then after some lineup changes with his band, eventually settled on the lineup of Cannonball Adderley on alto saxophone, John Coltrane on tenor saxophone, Paul Chambers on bass, Wynton Kelly on piano, Bill Evans on piano, and Jimmy Cobb on drums. While Bill Evans originally left, Wynton Kelly took his place, and then Bill Evans came back to play on this album, and then he left again, and then Wynton Kelly took his place permanently. So, Wynton Kelly actually ended up playing piano on the song Freddie Freeloader as kind of a gesture for Miles pretty much writing this entire album with Bill Evans in mind, the guy who he replaced, and him being upset that Bill Evans was coming back. But in my opinion, Wynton Kelly is a better blues pianist than Bill Evans is. Bill Evans is a phenomenal modal player, but blues, I've never been a fan of Bill Evans playing soloing over blues heads. But anyway, it was recorded in a few sessions in 1959 at, I think it was the 38th Street studio in New York. It was a converted church. It was a church, and then it was converted into a recording studio, so it has kind of an echoey feel to it, which I really like. The musicians came into the recording sessions not having little idea with what they were to play. Miles, I think, would just kind of give them a set of chord changes and a tempo, and then off they go. And it's a myth that all the songs on this album were recorded in a single take. That's not true. I think only one of them was recorded in a single take. I'm not sure which one, but not all of them were recorded in a single take. You know what? So yeah, here's the album cover for you. This is a reissue. Not really much going on the inside, but here's Miles right here. Some liner notes from Bill Evans. So like I said, Miles Davis on trumpet, Julian Cannonball Adderley on alto saxophone appears courtesy of Riverside Records. John Coltrane on tenor saxophone, Wynton Kelly on piano, Bill Evans on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, Jimmy Cobb on drums. And basically the Bill Evans says in the later notes, kind of comparing this album and group improvisation and playing in a jazz combo in general to like a Japanese visual art, which I think is really cool. You can go ahead and read those when you can go ahead and read that on your own time if you want to. But let's get into the songs on this album. So the album kicks off with a little bit of a Claude Debussy improvisation by Bill Evans, leading into So What? Classic, 2 chords, doesn't need to be any more than that. Great bass work by Paul Chambers on this one. Great soloing by Miles Cannonball and Coltrane. Love it. Love it. When it was played live, it was played a lot faster and a lot more aggressively. But on here, I actually kind of like the studio version than most live versions of So what. So Side 1, track 2, we got Freddie Freeloader. Great blues song, laid back blues. Jimmy Cobb, just cross stick. Great piano solo by Wynton Kelly. Probably one of his best in my opinion. Just just so simple yet so effective and speaks so much. Love Freddie Freeloader. Blue and Green, side 1, track 3, beautiful ballad, an unusual form, and a lot of jazz musicians at jam sessions really hate the song because it's really hard to solo over. I think the common misconception, I think in actuality, Bill Evans wrote the song, even though Miles is the only one credited with it, but Miles paid him like $25 for the entire writing credit or something like that, and Bill's like, that's fine. But yeah, beautiful ballad, great brushwork by Jimmy Cobb, great soloing by Miles and John Coltrane and Bill Evans. I don't think Cannonball Adderley plays on this one. Great way to end off side 1. Flip over the vinyl on side 2, all blues, great waltz-like, waltz feel blues here. Da, 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 da. Jimmy Cobb able to effortlessly switch from brushes to drumsticks. I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Evans' piano solo on this because, like I said, I just don't like... Just Bill Evans and blues heads just don't mix well together, I don't think. But other than that, it's fantastic. Longest song on the album, still great nonetheless. And then finishing off side 2 and finishing off the album, we have the beautiful and elegant flamenco sketches, which is actually completely improvised from what I've read. It's an improvised set of chord changes that Bill Evans provides, and Miles, Coltrane, and Cannonball just solo over it, and they do it beautifully. Once again, great brushwork by Jimmy Cobb. Just magical in a great way, and really relaxed in a great way. So, Miles Davis, Kinda Blue, the best-selling jazz album of all time, the greatest jazz album of all time. I think as of recently, it has sold 7 million copies in the United States, going 7 times platinum. Great album. A great album if you want to get into jazz. Certainly a great album if you want to get into Miles Davis. It's just great listening to. If you put it on at a party, when you have a small get-together, it's really relaxing. I never get tired of this album. I listen to this album to death, and I'm still not tired of it. So, it's a classic. And thank you guys very much for watching, and stay tuned for more of these in the future. We'll see you guys later.